Hey guys, it's Two Tone, and I'm gonna show you guys some secrets for sound selection. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this as fast as possible, like a 2-minute, 3-minute video. First thing, if you want to improve your sound selection, listen to beats from your favorite rappers, and then just copy those drums. Okay, so for example, what I would do is, if I'm trying to make rod wave type beats, I would click on a rod wave song like this one, and then I would listen to the clap, for example. Then I would go into my kits until I find the right clap. I'd compare it. I'd be like, oh, okay, that one's the one, right? And then I would drag it in. I'd do the same thing for the hi-hat, right? Do that until I get like a proper ear, until I train my ear. I'd be like, okay, that's the type of clap that sounds good with this type of beat. That's the hi-hat that sounds good. This is the 808, etc. That's the main point. Just listen to beats, then pick out the drums that rappers really want to hear. Okay, that's really what changed my whole kind of like career with this whole producing thing. I didn't have any placements until this August, and I didn't hear any of the placements that I made until like September or October. People were saying they're using my beats, but I didn't hear anything until like September or October. And I had been making beats since I was 12. I'm 20 now. Okay, so I was putting in a lot of work, and no one fucked with my shit, mainly because my sound selection was garbage. I'd be using like a whack ass fucking snare for my beat. Like, let me give you an example. Let me play this beat for you. All right, one sec. Sorry, family's calling me and shit. But listen to this beat. So when you listen to that, all the drums sound proper together, right? But now let me give you an example of here's what the beat sounds like with one instrument that's just fucking off. You know what I mean? Oh shit, I didn't even click the right one. Okay, so see how shit that is? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of you producers, like, your beats would be so much better if you just chose the right sounds. Like, if you watch Producer Grind or these interviews with producers, these deconstructive videos, even Metro Boomin interviews, they talk about how they don't even EQ their sounds. They don't even add effects to it. They just pick the right sounds, then they level it, and then the beat's done, and they send it to the engineer. Like, that's it. A lot of you guys, you're like, shit, how do I mix the kick in the 808? How do I do that? Like, you don't really need to mix it if you pick the right sounds. Like, for this beat, for example, I chose the rat kick. People have been using the rat kick since like 2011. It's still like probably the best kick in the game right now. When you use the rat kick, you really don't need to EQ anything, right? You don't need to do a fucking, what's that thing everyone's doing? Sidechain. I don't sidechain any of my kicks or my 808s ever. They just slap every time. Well, okay, that sounds cocky, but most of the time. So yeah, use the rat kick pretty much for all your beats if your beats aren't slapping right now. Okay. Next, 808s that people are using and actually like to hear nowadays, spins and Zay 808. Those are the main ones. Another one that's kind of fire that I personally like using for pain beats is the Vibes 808. It's in the Crazy Stash. It's like a version of the Zay, but it's just like distorted as fuck. So yeah, anyway, so here's what the spins 808 sounds like if you guys are kind of new. That's the spins. You hear that like Southside, Future, etc. Zay, that's kind of what you hear on most beats nowadays, just that quick one. Going into 2021, what you're going to be hearing a lot more of, at least, even what you're hearing now, is those two 808s, but just shorter. So for example, right, we're hearing that a lot. And the only thing that we're using on that, it's those short 808s and the rat kick. That's kind of what we're hearing most of the time nowadays. In terms of snares, hi-hats, and claps, you really just have to listen to beats and get an ear for it. But for like a little tip I can do for claps is, this is the clap that you're going to hear in most beats nowadays. You're hearing that, and then they usually layer some type of snare. So let me give you an example. A beat I just made today. So what I did was, you can see I'm using the Raz kick a lot of producers are using this. TNT, who produces for Rod Wave, he says he uses these kits. I used the basic clap I told you about, but then I layered it with a snare. So it's, again, that's a pretty clean basic snare that you hear in a lot of beats, but together it just sounds super clean. And that's kind of exactly what you hear in a lot of these placements nowadays, right? You'll hear it and you'll be like, is that a clap or a snare? I can't really tell. It's because they layered it. Yeah, what other shit can I tell you? Again, I use the Vibes 808 here. It's like a Zay, but distorted. Anyway, for hi-hats, just use a short and choppy one, right? Another tip for your hi-hats, don't be using something that's super high-end heavy. So for example, let me show you. That's the one that I use in this beat. It's not too high-end based, but let me find you one that's not good. See, that's an example of a bad hi-hat. You could use that to layer stuff, of course, but as a main one, it's awful. You know, this one might be a little annoying because it's high pitch. If you ever interview like an engineer, like a music engineer, and you ask him questions, he's gonna tell you something. He's gonna say, when there's a lot of high end in something, it's gonna hurt your ears faster. So for example, if you have like the hi-hats really fucking loud in your beat, you won't be able to listen to it for a long time because high end tires your ears out faster than low end. So that's why I think a lot of these hi-hats nowadays are not being so high-end heavy. You'll hear one like this more often, or like this, or like that, opposed to, you know, that. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling. You know, I said I was going to make a short video. This is getting kind of long. That's kind of the tips I have for you. Use the 808s that I showed you. Use the rack kick. Use claps, hi-hats, perks, snares, etc. that you hear in placements. Don't just freestyle the shit. Once you get an ear for it, you can start freestyling and whatever. But, you know, learn the basics, learn the fundamentals first. But yeah, anyway, hope this helped, and best of luck.